Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Fabulous Tips, Tricks, and Clever Ways to Use Microsoft Office 365 by Debbie Mayo-Smith. Today, you are listening and using your computer speaker system by default. You will have the opportunity to submit questions to Debbie by typing them into the questions pane on the control panel, and Debbie will answer these throughout the presentation. Today's webinar is proudly sponsored by Entity Brands, home to 13 of the world's largest uniform brands, including Nike and Port Authority. The power of the brands is in your hands at entitybrands.com.au. To give a brief introduction on today's presenter, Debbie Mayo-Smith. If anyone can help you work more productively with technology in these challenging times, it's Debbie Mayo-Smith. Why? First, Debbie is one of the most in-demand speakers and trainers in Australia and New Zealand and sits in the top 7% of speakers worldwide. A best-selling author of 16 books, Debbie has sharpened the activity of over 1 million individuals around the world through her presentations, quick tip newsletters, articles, books, and videos. More importantly, for the environment we are in today. Second, Debbie has been operating this business from a home office with 6 children in tow for over 20 years. When she started the business, her triplets were aged 3, the twins 6, Alex 9. I'll now hand this over to Debbie.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, and good morning to you. Good afternoon to me. And I hope you enjoy this webinar. And again, feel free to shoot questions through anytime. So here we go. I thought it might be a little bit of fun to go just throw in a few slides down memory lane. And also, forgive me, before I begin, and with the education, so to speak, I just wanted to say that's me, there you go, and that's my email address. This session includes a full 1-year follow-up. I'm happy to send you the PowerPoints. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And also I do every 2-3 weeks, a business quick tip newsletter with lovely little tidbits of shortcuts and great business ideas and time communication ideas and so on. So again, that's all included with this. But let's take a walk down memory lane. Now, here we go with the first one. What logo do you remember? How far do you go back? The logo that I remember the first, and I guess the clearest, would be from 2003 to 2007, that little word logo. How about you guys? What's your one? That's, I guess, a theoretical question. I don't really need an answer to that, but there we go. That's memory lane number 1. Or how about this? Remember when a phone was just a phone, it's just a phone, and the flip tops? Or how about this little memory? I mean, oh my gosh, floppy disks. And actually, when's the last time you even used a memory stick? Everything has changed, hasn't it? My God, has everything changed. But let's look at Microsoft. When you're familiar with it, if we go back before Office 365, and actually today, Microsoft changed its name. It used to be Office 365. And I bet when you turned on your computer or you opened up Outlook today or anything, it would have said, we are changing our name. It's now Microsoft 365. But if you go back before 2013, all the software was loaded onto your computer, and these were the programs. And how about those fat computer monitors? Do you remember those huggers? That's how the TVs used to be too. So that was before 2013. Then, you had the advent of Google and Dropbox, and what Microsoft evolved to including moving services online, and also including online storage and the apps. So if we go back to the advent of 365, what was new was that you had this online storage. That was, back 2013. And with the online storage, OneDrive, sorry, let me just go back a second again. So this is what you have. What happens when you buy Office 365? Now it's a subscription. You get the software loaded onto your computer, and you also have online storage. Of course, that has all evolved, and now with either Google Drive, with Dropbox, or with Microsoft Office 365, you can have software for free. So you have the ability to access computer programs or software, should we say, to all of your files of any kind, anywhere, anytime, and with any device. So now you can have it free. And the numbers here show you, of course, that if you have Dropbox, you have 2 gigabytes of free storage. If you don't have Microsoft Office on your computer, you can use it online through the internet, and then you have the apps, which I'll show you in a second. And of course, with Google, you have 15 gigabytes, but that is shared between Google Drive and your Gmail account. So with OneDrive, as you're familiar with the online storage, and I know you're all familiar with this, especially now working from home for about 3-4 weeks. That's what we have been doing. So OneDrive gives you access to save files. This is just a quick little reminder, online or on your computer or both. That's what I do on both, and you can sync and then you can share it. Things can be private. It can be videos, photos, anything you want. So what I thought that we would do is, and let me just show you. So here we have, for example, let's click in to the very first document, and you can see it's Word. So up across the top where the red box, the red line is, you'll see you can either open, share, download, move things. And the red box in the corner, you can see this is not a free one, but it's just with my small business. We just have a very small business subscription, and we've got five different computers it can be on, and everyone has a terabyte of a terabyte of their own storage. But if you go to open it up, you'll see that the apps, let's say you don't have it loaded on your computer. The apps are really very wonderful. They're just, what they've done, they've just taken a little bit of the, there's a question here. Saving docs to OneDrive or iCloud, is there any need to save an external? So the question is, if you save something online, do you need to also save it to a hard drive? The answer is no, unless you want to have access to it when you're not connected to the internet. But I'll go into that in 1 second also. So anyway, the free apps, let's say you only have a tablet, you don't have a computer. So you could have a Google or OneDrive account. You can use all of the apps, have online storage. You can even download and save things to your phone or your app. And what you'll find is the difference between what you pay for and what you get for free is, number 1, storage. Number 2, there's a few extra apps. But number 3, the big one, guys, is that there's some functionality that's diminished with the online apps, of course. So you can see here, when you open a document that you save in OneDrive, it says use OneDrive online, or do you want to open it in your desktop app? Now, moving on, let me just click, because I'm going to get to the good stuff now. So this is the lovely thing about anytime, anywhere, anyone. So if we take a look here, so this is just a picture of the Office things I have on my phone, and I've thrown Dropbox in it. So these are the apps. So let's say I wanted to get to a PowerPoint. I just click PowerPoint. It opens up one of the presentations that I have. I can schmooze through it, change it, work in it. And the lovely thing is look, you can make things available offline. So to go back to that question, if you've saved a document online on OneDrive or on Dropbox or anywhere, and you do want to make it available to you when you're not connected to the internet, you can do it through the apps. So now moving on, I know this is titled, don't get mad at me, I know it's titled Fabulous Tips and Tricks Working in Microsoft 365, but I thought I'm not going to go through Word and Excel or Outlook.com and do little pointers. I wanted to dive a bit deeper and show you things that you might not have noticed that I think will be fabulous to use in your business. So here's the first thing, when you open up OneDrive, again, it can be the free or the business version, you're going to be familiar, of course, with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but have you looked at OneNote or Forms? So that's one thing to think about, and I'll talk about that. But you know what? If you take a look, the arrows now move to the top left corner of your screen, and we've got what you have there is the icon to get to more of the apps. I don't know if you've ever noticed that or go there a lot, but if you click that, what you'll see is, my God, there's so many more apps than meets your eye. So you've got Forms, as we saw. There's something called Sway, Flow, OneNote, as I mentioned. There's To Do. Of course, you have Calendar, you have Contacts, you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And this isn't showing Teams because, again, we're a very small business. The larger businesses will have Teams built in, but look at all of these different apps. So that's what I thought we would cover today. I would go over all of these different apps that are free for you to use, that there's much more that meets your eye, and it can be very useful because they're free, they're easy, and you certainly don't need an IT team to set them up or to use them. So let's just go through them one by one. And also, I wanted to highlight that I know this is a Microsoft webinar, so to speak, but oh my gosh, you've got fabulous things also in Google Drive. So of course you have the equivalent, if you're a Google person or you're someone in the family is, or you're using both, of course, you have the equivalent of Docs, Sheets, and Slides, but whereas we have Microsoft Forms, you have Google Forms. We have Microsoft Sway, there's Google Sites, and I'm actually going to go over Google Sites for you because it's fabulous. There's Google My Maps, and that's a completely different webinar. My God, what you can do with Google My Maps and Google My Business. There's just so much available and free and easy. So that's my big thing. What can we do that's free and easy? Okay, so moving on now. So let's just very quickly run through. And again, I'm not going deeply into everything. I'm just showing you what's available and a couple of the top attributes. Because I think, again, forgive me, I think it's more important than showing you, a little tip here, a little tip there about using Word Online or Office 365. So the first thing is now, of course, everyone just about is at home. We're all working remotely, and you need to communicate within the office and most definitely with clients. So within Microsoft, you have two things. You have Skype and you have Teams. But the question first thing is, if you're calling or need to speak with your clients or with some of your suppliers or whatever. So my first thing is, people say, well, what should we use? Should we use Zoom? I mean, even for webinars, I've used Citrus, GoToWebinar, Zoom, Skype. There's so many things. So my answer to what should we use with our clients is use what they're comfortable with. Not everyone's going to be a technology maven. Not everyone's going to have perhaps the latest computer at home. So if your client wants to talk to you on Messenger, talk with them on Messenger, or WhatsApp, talk with them on WhatsApp. Perfectly acceptable. We've got Zoom, we've got Skype, and the new thing with Teams. Okay, so a couple of things about Skype. Skype is always very, very highly rated. And what you might not know about Skype is, here's two things. Number one is Skype. With Skype, of course, you can do, if you take a look on the left-hand side at about, if you're looking at a bullet point, like the second or third bullet point, it says Meet Now and New Chat. So with Skype, you can do Skype meetings and, of course, share screens. So you've got chatting, you've got that with Skype. But the thing that you might not know, and I've switched to the next screen, is that with Skype, if you have a Microsoft Office subscription, every month you're going to have 1 hour of free calling, or you can buy calls. Now you're saying, what are you talking about, Debbie? Calling or buying calls? You might think that Skype, just like Zoom and all these other things, are computer to computer, or you have to dial into a number. with a Skype, you can actually call phone numbers or mobile numbers anywhere in the world. So you could do it from an app on your computer or an app on your phone. So for example, when I'm traveling and I wanted to speak with a client, I would just actually use Skype on my phone and call them, and it would cost somewhere between 2 to 5 cents a minute, depending on where in the world you are calling and if you're calling a mobile phone or a regular phone. So that's really great, because this way, instead of picking up your phone and calling someone, let's say in America, and having to spend $1 a minute on your cell phone, it's infinitely cheaper and easy. And no one would ever know that you're calling them from Skype. So again, you can call and, in other words, use it as telephoning in a very, very cheap, effective way. And number two, you get free minutes for calling with your subscription. So again, just showing you with the meetings, easy peasy, how you can share, so you can invite anyone, they can join, it's easy peasy again, and you can share your screen. There's me. God, I hate, that's the biggest thing about webinars, isn't it, ladies out there? It's you hate how you look. My joy is that I have a beautiful Dell computer, but the camera is down at the very, very bottom. So it's hard to ever look at anyone. When I go to touch a key, do you see that my big hand looming in the right? Because I'm going to touch the keyboard. But anyway, that's completely besides the point. So do you see how you can either copy a link, share a link, and so on? So if you haven't used Skype, again, it's as easy as Zoom and, you know, because we're going to get to Teams in a minute, but when you look at Teams, it's frightening to look at if you're not used to it. And if you haven't used it, then it's like, oh my God, what is all this stuff? Because it's a very, very busy screen. If you take a look here, or if I go back one or two, you'll see it's much simpler and less sight invasive and less awesome. So what you, again, might not know, at least on the business front, Microsoft is getting rid of Skype, and they're going to promote, they're melding it as they have in the past into Teams. Who remembers from years ago when Skype was called, when it was Link, and they bought Skype and they melded Link into Skype, so now Skype's going to go into Teams. I don't know how many of you do have Teams or not, but just to explain it a little bit, and again, I'm just a self-employed person, so I don't, and we don't have Teams because there's no team here. There's just me and the kids and hubby that are using the 5 different Microsoft subscriptions that you get within one small business. But anyway, so if you take a look, they've built 5 things into one, which is you can do, like Skype, calls and chats. Like Skype, you can do meetings, Office document integration. So that means that you can attach documents and keep, so instead of having them in OneDrive, there's actually Teams that can hold documents. You create groups, which is called Teams, or it could be projects, and you can even do rostering or schedules. I'll show you all these things in a moment. And it was specifically built with the internet focus and for mobility. So again, if you haven't seen it before, and this is just using a Microsoft example, what a team would be, or the different groups, so that's over on the left. So let's say you might have different teams in your office. If you're a big company, you might have the IT department, you would have the sales department, you'd have the acquisitions, which is looking at all the different people who do all the buying around the world for the different promotional objects. You might have a marketing team. So those are the different teams. And then with each team, you'd have a channel. So let's say you were part of the sales and marketing team, if it was a one, and you were just looking at each channel might be a conference that you're going to be exhibiting at, or it might be the different elements of the different conferences that you're doing. Or it could be, it could be website activity is one, online sales would be another. So that's what the channels are within a team. And then within each of the channels, you'll have the conversations. Now, if we look across the top here where it says tabs, one of the lovely things is there's planners. There's actually a million things that you can add in. And of course, you can add in guests from outside your organization. I don't know if any of you are part of a huge international group, but it would also translate posts for you. So do you see how you can add in tabs? So you can do a wiki would be like a little scrapbook that people can put things in. Flow, forms, document library, PowerPoint. So all kinds of different tabs, just to go back to show you across the top that you can tab into within each of the specific teams and channels. Okay. Shifts, look at this, my goodness. You know, it could be that if you had we're working with, where's a good scenario? Because let's say, I don't think a lot of you would have people working part-time, but let's say you did, or you had people that were helping you at a conference, or you had people that were on the clock. So with the shifts, it's something that you could use Teams for instead of actually using a third-party application. So with shifts, people can clock in, clock out, and it keeps actual, what's it called, a time clock. So it's actually really quite wonderful when you think of it. And then moving on, and finally, just very quickly about Teams, is what's really lovely is you can blur the background. You can also blur the background, by the way, guys, with what's it called, with Skype. And have you noticed in Zoom that you can upload a different desktop? I don't have my camera on, but if I had the camera on, you'd see I have a beautiful beach and water setting behind me. Now, if any of you are interested in Teams, there's a Teams blog. And number two, there's also a lovely, this one I had to look through. So there's different, of course, YouTube subscriptions that you can go to and just, you know, sign up to someone and find out more about what's new with Teams. And I've also put together a little working document, a couple of things that I've found, articles. So again, Debbie at debbiespeaks.com, just send me an email if you'd like, and I'm happy to email it to you. All right, so moving on, what other little jewels are there? So OneNote. It'd be very interesting to know how many of you are using OneNote. I'm not a OneNote kind of person. So what can you describe OneNote as? It's kind of like a scrapbook, should I say. So by a scrapbook, it's basically, if you think about it, let's say you only had a tablet or you weren't a My Documents kind of person, what would happen is you could use it for online storage and organization of your files. Now, I'm going to go into let me just see, there's a new question, I think. I've moved from Evernote to OneNote. Yeah, I was going to show that Evernote is the sort of the non-Microsoft equivalent. So what is this? What is OneNote? What is, or Evernote, the comparable program? Think of it like a scrapbook or like a cookbook. The reason I don't use it personally is because I'm very good at using My Documents and creating folders and subfolders and being very organized. But what OneNote is, so think of it, let me just give you a cookbook analogy. You have notebooks, or in other words, you could have recipe books. Here you'll see I have one notebook called the shopping list, one's the Mediterranean, another's meetings. So let's say you have one that's the recipe, and we can call it desserts for delightful desserts. Then you'll have different sections. So under delightful desserts, which is the cookbook, you would have the different sections you can put in. So the sections being, what's a good one? Section is, sorry, I'm just phasing out for a second. So the section could be, under the desserts, we could have ice cream, you could have pies, you could have slices, you could have sections. So those are all different sections. With another cookbook, it could be beef, chicken, dishes, it could be desserts, it could be soups, vegetarian. And then you'll have the individual pages. So instead of, let's say you open up the chicken or the slices section, then you'll have all the different pages, each one being a recipe. So you'll see I have one called the Mediterranean. Here we have within Spain, I have Palamos. And then under Palamos, I have about 5 or 6 different pages. So these were different places to go in the area. And then you can see within a page, you can put all kinds of things. Let me just go to the next one. So I clicked into Valencia. So you can see you could put pictures, you can embed documents. They can be, you just can drag and drop them and move them, put them anywhere. So you have audio recordings. So I think did a new question come? Nope. So let me just close this, sorry. So that's how it works. You can just save something to a notebook and then a section and then within a page. A lot of people use it for meetings. So if you take a look, if you have Office 2013, 2010, 2016, and up to Windows 2010, what you'll find is that you had OneNote, which was integrated into your desktop, not only in Outlook, but in all the different Office products. But Microsoft took it out and made it a standalone app in Windows 10 that you would download to your computer or use online. And the bad thing is it doesn't integrate with your Outlook meetings anymore. It integrates, with your Outlook on your computer meetings, it integrates with Outlook 365 meetings. So if you found that you've had a problem lately, that's what it is. And the only wee little thing to mention is that you can share notebooks, but not individual sections or pages. So if there are things you want to share and you only wanted to share one little bit of it, make it its own notebook. So that, in a very long discussion, I'm sorry, that is OneDrive. I'm not getting to the goodies yet. So OneDrive. So again, like an online scrapbook, that's fabulous for tablets where you can gather your bits and pieces and keep them organized in thinking of a notebook section page kind of view. Okay. So here's the next thing. Again, when you're looking at all these different apps available, how many of you guys have used Forms? And you have the same equivalent in Google, although the Microsoft one is a wee little bit better. Oh my goodness, what you can do with Forms. If you're thinking I'm going blah, 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 blah for this whole little webinar and you're not paying attention, pull your attention right back in for Forms because it's the best thing since sliced white bread. I think that's an Americanism, but anyway. So my goodness, take a look at what you can do. What is Forms? Well, basically, it allows you to, it gives you the easiest way for people to, it's like SurveyMonkey, but completely free and easy. So basically, you can give people a link, they click it open, they can answer the questions, and then hit submit. The joy is they're all kept online in an Excel or in a Google Sheets document. The answers are all coordinated and collaborated for you, put together, and you can download it. So think about it. Just think of those good old days when you used to go to an exhibition and you would have people fill out the form for more answers or more questions or find out more about your business, and then you had to go type all those darn things in. Now you could just in the future have just a little iPad there where they just fill it out and it will all go into an online form. So think of it, if you want to do simple order forms for maybe your top 10 products or a certain slice of your products, if you wanted to register people for your own webinars, if you had client fact-finding forms, sign up to your newsletter. With Microsoft and Google, actually, you can even upload documents. So someone can click open a document, which could be your catalog. I mean, my goodness, let me show you how easy it is. So here's an example. Before I speak at conferences, I always do an online survey. So so there it goes. So here's a screenshot of a survey I did. You take a look to the right, you see responses, 53. So you fill it out, it creates a link, and as people answer it, look, Microsoft will actually coordinate, and Google coordinate and give you bar graphs and pie charts of the responses. And you see, the little red box, open up in Excel. If you click it, it opens up with an Excel spreadsheet of all the responses, which you can do what? Yes, I heard you say it. I heard you say it in your mind that you can download. How lovely to have this instant database. Just think of it, even if you have a sales team all going out and using this, and orders can come in this way. There's just so many ways of using it. So you can download that to your computer. So again, it's so easy to use. You can ask, this is just showing you creating it. So you can ask any kind of questions that you want, and you can have quite a few different ways where people submit the answers. So rating something, text, date, like multiple choice, give them a long answer, short answer, make it required. And with Microsoft also, if you take a look under settings, you can accept or have a start or end dates. But look, the lovely thing is you can have email notifications come to you, and you can also customize the thank you message. So, thank you so much for answering the survey, or thank you for registering, anything that you'd like to do there. So that is Forms. And take a look. And you can click and show, how's it going to look on a mobile phone? How is this going to look on my computer? So we've covered so far online meetings and talking to people with Skype and Teams. Then we have OneNote. So that's point number 2. We have 6 little diamonds or so to cover. Point number 3 was Forms. I hope you like it. And the next thing, number 4, is Flow. Even though Microsoft says they're Flow, they've changed the name to Power Automate. So this one's a little bit tricky, but what it is, I'm trying to think of the name of the equivalent app. I think it's called If Then What, or it's If Then What, or something like that. So basically, what Flow is, it allows you to automate that. If something happens, I want you to do this, Microsoft. So you just go here, you click on Flow, click on it, and then it will open up with this page. And I've just clicked on the template. So these are pre-set up ones that you can just say, yep, I want to do this. So for example, get a push notification when you receive an email from your boss, or save an email attachment to your OneDrive. Get today's weather forecast for my current location. So all of these things, you can just click on it and just have them instantly happen. And the lovely thing too, it links many different apps. So here, what we see, it says send a text message when I get an email from my manager. So it's showing you that it's using your phone and it's using Office 365. But as you can see, you can do things from MailChimp, from automate things from Excel. It's amazing. Look at, I don't even know what a lot of those logos are. Actually, some of them I wouldn't have a clue. How about you? What's that one with the eye? Who knows? Anyway, the important thing is it links many apps that you might be using in your business, and you automate it. So then you can just go and take a look at your flows. So you can see I have 2 things here, which is an update from the blog and to show me things that are happening. And if you click on one, like with my flows, it actually explains to you exactly what's going to happen, when you created it, and so on. So that's that with Flow. I went through it very, very quickly because most of you won't need it, but it's really great to know. But if you have a lot of things happening, so let's say MailChimp, you're not getting your unsubscribe notices. So you can say every time somebody unsubscribes from my newsletter on MailChimp, please send me a notification, text message or something, I don't know. Not that you'd really want that to happen. How depressing is it? I'm just thinking now about, this database I've had for the past 20 years, curating it. And what's going to happen? It's decimated. Oh, and by the way, I know we started out saying that I've been working from home for home office for 20 years. Again, I thought the most relevant and important things to talk about here was going to be about these different apps you might not have noticed. I will close with a couple of little just a few little points about working at home. But let's go on to the next one, which is Sway. And this one, it's sort of an empty screen, but I just wanted to show you, there are just so many different apps that are available. And this is just on the smaller business ones. If you take a look at the apps on the larger business accounts, there's so many more things. But Sway, what is Sway? And also kind of in the equivalent, but I think even easier and better, is Google Sites, which we'll talk about next. But number 5 is Sway. So what is Sway? Sway is online, and you send people a link, and you can use it to, what it does, it adds movement and scrollability. So if you were doing a newsletter, instead of sending someone a PDF that they'd have to click open the PDF and scroll down it, you can do your newsletter as a Sway instead. And as someone scrolls, things will enlarge, things will diminish, pictures will come into focus and move out of focus. It's just how you set it up. So you can showcase any of your new products. You can do a very quick website, a portfolio of your top 20 products for certain industries, a CV, a newsletter, anything. How Sway, and again, you just click on that Sway and it will open up here. So create new ones and so on. So again, what it does, it adds movement. You can move vertically or horizontally. And with each one of these are called cards. So you see there's 2 cards there. The top one's title card is Mediterranean Lecture Cruise. The second one is can you imagine visiting a different sit? So that's the second card there, and so on. So the really interesting, let me pop that thing, is that under that card, I just typed out the words Dido and Carthage and I put an image. So what's really quite cool about this, I think I have that, is that it will automatically search the internet for relevant content. So do you see how it's coming up with Tyre, Carthage, Cyrus the Great, and so on? That's all tied in with Carthage and Dido. She's the founder. She left, well, I don't need to go into that. That's too boring. I'm sure you're not interested in it. So this is a great, easy peasy thing to use. And again, you can add these pictures. You see how we're just swooping down? It creates little cards. And you can really have quite a lot of leeway in how you're doing the background, the colors, the fonts, and etc. So just to show you, this is a video, and I don't think videos work very well, so I'm not going to press play. But this is an example of someone who put together quite a lot of different pictures of their home, and they're using a Sway to sell their home. And again, what happens when you create this, it makes a hyperlink, and that's what you would send to people. It opens up and they can walk through it. Here's an example of a local council that did their newsletter. And again, you can't tell because where the power comes in, it's with the scrolling as you go down the page. But you can see how, in your mind, how you can do lovely things. Once you learn it, you'd be able to do things very quickly without a marketing department, without an IT department, and so on. Moving over to Google Sites, and that's what the logo looks like for Google Sites. Google Site will allow you to do an easy peasy, very quick, instant website. So if you take a look here, we've got insert, you've got pages and themes, and up on top it says untitled site. So if I click down, so you see I just popped in an image, popped in a title, I just wanted to show you an example. So this would be just showing one of the speeches that I have to offer, so to speak. But if you look on the right, you see how you have a very, very easy way of changing the layout. So again, you can use this for showcasing products, for doing a portfolio of your most popular things, of creating little mini websites for different conferences in the future that you will exhibit at or that you're virtually exhibiting at. Let me go down. So you see how you can, again, you insert pages, you have themes. it's just really wonderful. Whoever knew you have so many of these free and easy things to do? And when you go to publish, I'll just show you, here's the preview. So do you see it? It looks just like a little website. Do you see how amazing that is? If you look up the top left, the little drop-down menu for the different pages and so on. So that's previewing it for the phone. And that's just, someone did an entire glorious website with that whole thing. Isn't that amazing? Now, just to sum this up, and we're almost at the end now. So you have to share and protect your data and your information. You have the drives. You have, of course, I shouldn't call it Office 365. You have Microsoft, the name changed today, Microsoft 365 or Google Drive. With an account, you have a terabyte. That's so much storage, you'll never use it. In fact, take all your phone's pictures and upload them so you don't lose them. Or you have with Google Drive, you have 15 gigs, and that's again sharing it with your Gmail account. For data input and response management, we've got Forms, which is again in Google or in Microsoft. And then for better communication, you've got Skype and Teams. You've got Sway and Sites for doing newsletters or easy peasy quick websites. So there's our little summary of what we've just covered. Now, just to close, I'm going to take you down memory lane. And as Ida opened up, yep, this was me a little over 20 years ago. There's Alex, the eldest, and I'm with my twins and triplets. So I thought, I'm not going to put in a lot of tips anymore. Well, actually at all, almost, about working at home, because you guys have been doing it for 3 or 4 weeks now. At least we have in New Zealand. We're now walking into our 4th week of shutdown. And, it's been very prohibitive. The only thing open here has been supermarkets and going to the doctors. That's it. And a dairy here or there. So, things have been at home. So the point that I wanted to make, someone asked me to write an article, and all of the things that I picked up, I went searching online, just looking to see what do other people recommend. And almost every single thing that they recommended were rules that I personally broke, which is thou shalt not work in the living room. Well, why not? Thou shalt not stay in your pajamas. Well, why not? Thou shalt not work in bed. Well, if you're comfy and you've got a laptop, why not? So, again, especially now during this period where we're all under so much strife, I don't know about you, but every day I eat about my weight in food going to that refrigerator. So we're going to have diets to contend with, won't we, ladies and gents, afterwards? But a big tip again is, or the things that I just wanted to mention is, it's a-okay to work in your pajamas and to be comfy. That, we're all under periods of stress, so be comfortable. Work in the living room. That's what laptops are made for. Hopefully you'll have a pair of headphones or earplugs. So, again, as they say in New Zealand, be kind, be generous, stay at home. But what I found worked really well too is that if you have the ability to alter your schedule, is to get as much work as you can done during your productive time. Are you a night person? Are you a morning person? Set your alarm for earlier in the morning and then sit in bed with your laptop. That's what I used to do. My gosh, I used to write articles and write speeches and do everything, let's say at 5:30 until 7 o'clock in the morning, and got so much done, the equivalent of what would, in 1.5 hours, what might take 4 hours later on. So find your productive time, work then, and then spend the other time enjoying your family and enjoying the slowness of what we have now. The other thing is that boredom and leisure might be, what am I going to do? Are you tired of going for walks? Are you tired? So there are 3 things I'd love to recommend. And again, this is not for you, but I'm sorry for kids, but this is, for you and perhaps the older ones. So first of all, there's RB Digital. You connect that to your local library and you can download and read read magazines on your phone, magazines from all over the world, on your phone, on your computer, or on your tablet. OneDrive is for ebooks and audiobooks. So again, why not, if you're doing housework or you're cooking, why not have your phone with you and be read to by an audiobook? It's a lovely way to consume books while you're multitasking. And then the other thing is for your own personal development is, oh my God, I love this, the Great Courses Plus. So what that is, it's professors that have these amazing lessons online. So let me just show you. So OneDrive is on the left here. So again, you just link it to your local library, put in your library card number, then it will open up and you can browse all of the ebooks and the audiobooks the library has and take them out. On the right, you can see what I'm interested in, can't you guys? Oh gosh, this lady likes history, yeah. And working out and exercising. So on the right, so you can see from Auckland Libraries, where I live, all the all of the magazines that I have checked out. And it's lovely because with the app, instead of you can look at the page as a PDF or it reconfigures it as text for you. So that's really good for reading on phone or smaller devices. But this thing, the Great Courses Plus, they have a special on now where it's only $10 US a month when you pay in quarterly. So so you would pay $30 US and you get 3 months worth, and you pay in quarterly blocks like that for every 3 months. It's well worth it. It's amazing, amazing, from photography to chess, cooking, gardening, and so on. So for example, which one did I pick? The Vikings. I'm on whenever I go for walks, I take my phone and listen to these courses. So you can download them, but look how lovely. So this course has 36 different half-hour lectures. So if you'd like to expand your horizon, learning more about the world, and of course they have ones coming up now about COVID and so on, but yeah, those are some great little leisure and time-busting things. So what was your favorite, everyone? Sites, Sway, Flow, the last one, Great Courses Plus, Skype, Teams. Just in closing, I just wanted to say, just a tiny, tiny, tiny little sales push, which is, I can do in-house webinars for anyone, small group training, conferences, and so on. So anything you'd like. And again, how you'll remember, if it's okay with you, Ida will send me your email addresses, and I'm delighted. I'll send you the presentation. It includes a 1-year follow-up. So if you had any questions on Skype or sites or something like that, give me a yell. If you want the team tips document, and of course the ongoing education. So I think that's the last slide I have. Oh, yes, it is. So thank you very much for joining in. Any more questions now? Anyone else? And it would be interesting, the person, Anthony, you've moved from Evernote to OneNote. Which one do you like better if you're still with us? Not here. Oh, well. So over to you, Ida.
Thank you, Debbie. That was actually a great presentation, quite informative. As we don't have any other questions, as Debbie mentioned, she will send out a copy of the presentation over the next couple of days, along with the recording. If you do have any questions that do come to mind after the presentation, please send them to Debbie@debbiespeaks. Sorry, let's start again. Debbie@debbiespeaks.com. Obviously, her email address is on the screen as well. Oh, there we go. Anthony's just responded to you, Debbie.
Oh, good. Let's see. Evernote. Use it for a while, but want to get it. Okay, because he's more familiar with it, I see. Try out Forms, everybody. It's really fabulous.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you, Debbie. As mentioned before, it was a great presentation. Thank you for everyone for joining us today on behalf of Debbie and APPA. I would like to wish you all a great afternoon, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.